The world watches with bated breath. Tensions flare in the Middle East. A potential conflict between Israel and Iran threatens to ignite a global firestorm. Is World War III on the horizon? The question hangs heavy in the air. Recent events have pushed us closer to the brink. Israeli drones have launched daring attacks on Iranian oil tankers. These strikes, a clear escalation of hostilities, raise the specter of a wider war. The situation is precarious. The stakes are incredibly high. The world is holding its breath. Will these attacks be the spark that ignites a regional conflict? Or will cooler heads prevail, averting disaster? The answer remains uncertain. The future hangs in the balance. The drone attacks represent a significant escalation in the conflict between Israel and Iran. These are not isolated incidents. They are part of a larger pattern of aggression and retaliation. The attacks on the oil tankers, a vital part of Iran's economy, are a direct challenge to Tehran's power. Israel has remained tight-lipped about the attacks, refusing to officially confirm their involvement. However, few doubt the source of these calculated strikes. Israel has long accused Iran of using its oil revenue to fund terrorist groups and develop nuclear weapons. The drone attacks, therefore, can be seen as a preemptive strike against what Israel perceives as an existential threat. Iran, for its part, has vowed to respond forcefully to these attacks. The Iranian government sees these actions as an act of war and has promised swift and decisive retaliation. The situation is incredibly volatile. One wrong move, one miscalculation could have catastrophic consequences for the entire region. Looming over this conflict is the specter of nuclear war. Iran has been accused of developing nuclear weapons, a claim it vehemently denies. However, the possibility of Iran acquiring nuclear capabilities is a major concern for Israel and the international community. Israel, itself a nuclear power, views a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential threat. The Israeli government has repeatedly stated that it will not allow Iran to acquire nuclear weapons, and has even hinted at preemptive strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities. This stance has further inflamed tensions and heightened fears of a wider conflict. The international community is deeply concerned about the potential for a nuclear confrontation in the Middle East. The consequences of such a conflict would be catastrophic, not just for the region, but for the entire world. The use of nuclear weapons would have devastating and long-lasting effects on human life, the environment, and the global economy. Section 4. A century of conflict, roots of the divide. The current tensions between Israel and Iran are not new. They are rooted in a century of conflict and mistrust. The two nations have been locked in a bitter rivalry since the 1979 Iranian Revolution, which overthrew the pro-Western Shah and established an Islamic Republic. The Iranian Revolution had a profound impact on the Middle East. It emboldened Islamist movements across the region and challenged the existing power dynamics. Israel, which had enjoyed close ties with the Shah's regime, suddenly found itself facing a hostile and ideologically opposed neighbor. Over the decades, the relationship between Israel and Iran has been marked by proxy wars, terrorist attacks, and constant threats. Both countries have accused each other of supporting terrorist groups and undermining their national security. This cycle of violence and mistrust has fueled the current crisis and made a peaceful resolution seem increasingly elusive. Section 5. Oil and instability, a global nightmare. The attacks on Iranian oil tankers have sent shockwaves through the global economy. Iran is a major oil producer, and any disruption to its oil exports has the potential to trigger a global energy crisis. The world is already grappling with rising energy prices, and the conflict in the Middle East could exacerbate this problem. The attacks on the oil tankers have also raised concerns about the security of shipping lanes in the Persian Gulf. This vital waterway is a major artery for global oil transportation, and any disruption to traffic through this region could have a significant impact on the global economy. The international community is deeply concerned about the potential for a wider conflict in the Middle East. Such a conflict would have devastating consequences for the global economy, leading to higher oil prices, economic instability, and potentially even a global recession. Section 6. The fragile balance of peace. The world watches and waits. Will reason prevail, or will the drums of war continue to beat? The situation in the Middle East is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace. It highlights the importance of diplomacy, dialogue, and a commitment to peaceful solutions. The international community must work together to de-escalate the situation and prevent a catastrophic war between Israel and Iran. This will require engaging with all parties to the conflict, addressing their legitimate security concerns, and finding a path towards a peaceful resolution. The stakes are incredibly high. The future of the Middle East and indeed the world hangs in the balance. The world needs cool heads and steady hands to navigate this dangerous moment. We must choose diplomacy over war, dialogue over destruction, and hope over fear. The alternative is unthinkable.